One type of reaction are called synthesis or combination reactions. This is when you take one or more elements or compounds and you make a single product. Okay? You always make one single product. The reactants could be compounds or elements, but you always end up with one single compound as a product. For instance, if we take magnesium plus oxygen, I think it's kind of obvious what they make, right? They're going to make a compound with magnesium and oxygen in it. The trick is, you can't just add them up. The product is not MgO2, okay? Instead, you have to look at the charges. Mg is 2 plus and O is 2 minus, so they make MgO. Okay, and then you go through and you balance it. Okay, what if we have aluminum and chloride? Again, you can't just add them up and say they make that. Alright, you have to look at charges. Aluminum is 3 plus, the chloride is 1 minus, so they make AlCl3. Okay, so then we go through and we balance that, and that's all there is to it. They're really pretty simple. If we have a transition metal, it's a little harder because we don't know what charge it forms. So basically I just have to tell you. So in this case I'll give you the product and you just have to translate it from words to formula. So Sn2 plus and O2 minus. So Sn plus O2 gives me SnO2. SNO, right? 2 plus and 2 minus. And then I go ahead and balance it, and that's my answer. H and Cl, right? H plus, Cl minus, they make HCl. Alright, balancing that, there's a 2. Comes when I have two nonmetals like this, they can form so many different compounds. This could make NO, or N2O, or NO2, or N2O3, or N2O5, and there's no way for you to know. So if I gave you a problem like this, I would probably say N2 plus O2, and I'd give you the product. I'd say something like dinitrogen monoxide, okay? And you would just translate it into a formula, and then you'd go ahead and balance, okay? So you can't really predict the formula of covalent compounds. So again, I just have to tell you. So the two types now that you're going to have to memorize are a little more tricky, okay, is I take a metal oxide and add it to water, and I make a metal hydroxide, which is a base, okay? So by metal oxide, I mean something like sodium oxide, or calcium oxide, or aluminum oxide. And I add them to water, and I make the metal hydroxide. So remember, hydroxide is OH minus. So in this case, I'm going to make OH minus with sodium. So sodium is Na plus, so these guys are going to make NaOH. Okay? And I balance it. Here, I'm going to make OH minus with calcium, which is 2 plus. So I'm going to make CaOH2, which is already balanced, so I'm all done. Here, I'm going to make OH minus with aluminum, which is 3 plus. So I make AlOH3, and then of course I have to balance that. Alright, so 2 aluminums, so I put a 2 here, 3, 6 H's, so I need a 3 there, and I'm all set. Metal oxides are called basic anhydride, because anhydride means without water. Okay, without water. So when I add water, I get a base. So it's a base without water. When I add the water, I get the base. Anyway, this metal oxide is called a basic anhydride. Okay. We're going to see the same thing now with non-metal oxides and water, but instead of making a base, they're going to make an acid. Okay? And they're called acid anhydrides. So non-metal oxides like SO3, N2O3, Cl2O, Cl2O3. Okay? S, N, Cl, those are non-metals. Now this is kind of cool. They make an acid. So what you do is kind of weird, but you take all of the elements on this side and you just add them up. And you put H first, and then your non-metal second, and then your O last. So if I look at this example, I have two H's. So I write H2, I have one S, and I have four O's. So SO3 plus water gives me H2SO4, and that's it. Okay? This one I have two H's, I have two N's, and I have 3 and 1 is 4 O's. The only difference is I'm not quite done, because if I can reduce, I do. And I'm going to reduce by 2, so I have 2 HNO2. So I divided everything by 2, so I end up with 2 of them. Okay, you might want to try the last 2 yourself, if you want to stop the video and try them. Okay. Okay, so we'll do them now. If you've already tried them, great. Let's see how you did. 2 H's, 2 Cl's, and 2 O's. I can reduce them by 2, so the product is 2 HClO. Okay? 2 H's, 2 Cl's, 4 O's. I can reduce by 2. So I really have 2 HClO2. Okay, so that's all there are to synthesis or combination reactions.